I'm Raj and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in this video I will talk about list comprehension techniques. So we'll start off with a small example. So let's say I want to create this list which is from 21 to 100. So it will have the numbers between 21 to 100. So to create this loop or to create this list, I will first of all declare a list numbers which is an empty list. Then I will loop through the numbers 21 to 100 and I will append it one by one to the list, and then indeed I will print it. So this 3 or 4 lines code is to create this list. So let's say I want to decrease this number of lines of code to just a single line. So I can create the same list using a single line of code. Then it takes us into a thought that we already have only 3 lines of code. Then why we want to shorten it? So the list comprehension technique not just create the loop or not just create a list in a single line, but it is also efficient internally. So whenever we use a list comprehension technique, it is performing it in a very efficient way. So we can have reduced runtime for our code. So that's why everyone use list comprehension techniques in order to create a list. So the basic syntax for list comprehension is, we'll have the list variable, that whatever the variable name we want, and then we'll have the equals, and then we have the list demarcators. Then we'll start off with the value that we want to insert in the list, and then we'll have the basic for loop syntax. So we'll have the for, and then iterative variable and membership operator, followed by the iterable object. So this here iterable object can be a range function which gives us incremental values or decremental values. Then we can have list string here as well. So this value is nothing but the values that we want to append in the list. And so this way of creating a list is quite similar to the set theory or set notation that we study in the discrete mathematics stat theory concept. So that you can see on the screen as well. So we have the block markers which identifies a set, and then we have the values that has to be inserted by, followed by a pipe. Then we have the condition, and then we'll define the range of the values that is possible to be in this set. So that's how it is done. Let's take a small example to understand with an example to have a more clear idea. So we'll take the same example. So we want to create a list for having the numbers between 20 to 100. So I can use the square demarcators, and then first of all we'll create the for loop. So I will have for I as the iterative variable in range 20 to 101. So effectively 20 to 100. And then what I want is, I want these values, this I values, to be appended in the list. So I will write I at the value position, or this position where the value which is going to be appended. So now I print it. So I will get a list of 20 going till 100. So effective and easy on using a single line of code rather than using 3 or 4 lines of code. This was a basic basic way to do it. But let's say we have some condition as well. I want to append a value to the list based on some condition. Then we have that case as well. So we'll have there is a simple modification in the basic code of list comprehension. So we'll have the value as at the starting position as above. Then we'll have the if condition, and this else part is optional. So it's totally dependent upon the programmer if they want the else part or not. So it is totally optional. So then we'll have, at the end we will have the for loop, which having the iterative variable and the iterable object. So what this code does is, so there will be a value coming out of the iterative variable, sorry, iterable object, and then we will check condition based on that value. If the condition is true, then we will append this value, that is the value, and if the condition is false, then we'll append the default value. So in case where this else is not defined, so it will not append anything. It will just keep that iteration if the condition is false. So let's take this small example. So let's say I have a list of 1 2 3 4 up to n numbers, and I want an output list as telling that the respective elements are odd or even based on the input list. So what I can do is I can create a list with even if the I modulo 2 is 0. So essentially you should start understanding from wherever the loop is. So first of all I will understand this part. So here I have a for loop with iterator variable going from 1 to 20, 1 to 19 effectively. So what I will do is I will go to the if part now in chronological order. So if part is checking if the I is modulo 2 is basically checking for if evenness of the number. So if the number is even, then I will append this even string, else I will add this odd string. So what I get is even odd series. So let's say I remove this else odd part. So what this code effectively does is it will effectively append even only on those values where the number is even. So it will only append even 10 times. Okay, so if I have only a single if condition, then I have to append or I have to write this if condition at the end. So now I will get even 10 times. So it will append even for the iterations 2, 4, 6, 8, etc. till the last iteration. So I have to keep that in mind. So if you have a single condition, then you have to write if at the end. So if you have the if else condition, then you have to write the if else at the beginning of the for loop. So that's how it is. I have tried for different combinations, but their things didn't work out. So you have to if you want you have to follow this way of syntaxes only. So let's say I have rather than only having a single condition, I have two conditions in place. So for the syntax for that is we'll have the value, then we'll have the for loop, the iterator variable, and then we have the iterable object, and then we'll have the two conditions at the end. So we'll have the if condition 1 and condition 2. So here and signifies that both conditions should be true. So if you have a test case where the scenario where you need to have either of the condition, then you can replace this and with or. So and then you will get the results appropriate to that code. So let's take an example here. So I want to build a list of numbers below 100 which are divisible by 2 and 5 both. So for that I will follow the basic syntax above. So I will have the I value that I want to insert. Then I will have the for loop which is going from 0 to 50, and then so I have to change here. So I want 100. So now I will check for the divisibility. So I will check if I is modulo 2 is 0. So I will check for divisibility of 2, and I will check for the divisibility of 5. So now as soon as I run it, I will get the values 0, 10, 20, 30, which is nothing but your values at 10 intervals of 10, which are both divisible by 2 and 5. So next up we have let's say we have multiple if conditions, and we have the default values as well. So we have this if else if based ladder. So I will take this small example. So here the input list is 1 2 3 4 5, and I want an output list something like yes, no, idle. So what the condition is, so if the values of the list are 1, so if a value is 1, then I will have yes. If the value is 2, then I will have no. Or if I have the value other than 1 and 2, then I will print idle, or I will have the value idle. So in this case our code will be something like this. So we'll start off with this for loop. So it becomes easier to understand when you start off with the loop. So here I will take this list L. So I have told you in the beginning. So I will have the iterable object. So list is an iterable object. So I can directly use the values by directly accessing the iterable property of the list. So I will have for v. So v is nothing but iterable object, and it will take values from the list L one by one. So I will have 1, then 2, then 3 in each iteration respectively. So I will check for v. I will go to the if condition first. So I will have if e is equal v is equals to 1 or not. If this is true, then I will have the value yes to be appended in the list. If that is not true, then I will have no if. So this part is together. So if this is not true, then I will go to the else part. So else part is suggesting that if the value of 2 is v is 2, then I will append no, or then else we will go to the idle part, to the default part, which is idle. So this code will append do the same task as above. So this seems somewhat difficult to understand, but if you have a deeper look into it, or you take some time to understand this, then it becomes very easier for you to understand. So effectively this code also, so I had to define the L variable. So now I have defined the L variable, so I will get the same list output as above. So yes, no, idle. So this way you can use multiple if else based condition in the list comprehension to make your list. So remember guys, list comprehension is an effective technique to make list, but you have to keep that in mind, that you don't keep too much of a complex code in list comprehension, so it makes it equals to the default way of creating a list. So if you have too much complex condition based code to be inserted in the list comprehension, then you can use a default way of creating a list, which will be equally effective in the runtime, and it will be easier to understand, because a complex list comprehension code can be difficult for other than you to understand, because it becomes very difficult to decode each and everything. So other than a single dimensional list, we can create nested lists as well using list comprehension. So I will take this small example to end this video. So I want to create a list, nested list, something like 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 4 times. So this is nothing but a two-dimensional nested list. So I want to have 1 2 3 4 5 as one list, and then I will repeat it for 4 times. So this whole nested list will be of length 4. So, and effectively each item will be of length 5. So which is nothing but 4 into 5, 20. So total number of items in the list will be 20. So what I will have is, I will have the first outer list, which is the main list, as demarcators. Then I will write the first code as for I in range. So I will start off with the number of rows that we want. So I will write 4, which is like I will go from 0 1 2 3. So effectively I will run for 4 times. So now for each iteration, so I want, for each row I want to have a list which is 1 2 3 4 5. So now I have, so which is also a list. So I have to I have a list in the value part. So now for that list I will use another iterative variable. So I will let us take it as j, and in that I will go from 1 to 6, so which is effectively 1 2 3 4 5. So now what this code will does is, it will first go for this for loop, and it will create 4 iterations for it. So it will go from 0 1 2 3 4 for I values, and then for each iteration of that I will have this inner list comprehension working on each iteration. So I will have in this inner iteration, inner list comprehension, I will have, sorry, I forgot to write this j here. So I will have this j value appended into the internal list. So I will go from 1 2 3 4 5. So it will effectively create a list of 1 2 3 4 5 for each iteration. So in the end we will have a list, nested list of 1 2 3 4 5 4 times. So that's how you can create a nested list. So this was the basic example. You can try out different codes as well. So that's it in this video, guys. If you clearly doesn't understood anything, then you can comment it in the comment section, and you can tell me your concerns. I am doing my best to put the knowledge that I have to make you understand these things in a simple and easy way. So thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. Keep liking, keep sharing, and keep commenting on this channel. This is Raj signing out.